The person who disrespected you did not steal your dignity. You handed it to them the moment you demanded they treat you differently. Disloyalty hurts. Only when you mistake another human being's character for your own worth. At 35, 40, or 50. Expecting people to be loyal because you are honorable is not high standards. It is naive. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire plagued by treason, plagues, and political backstabbing. He did not survive by hoping for better men. He survived by mastering his internal architecture. When you finish this manual, disrespect will no longer trigger an impulse to explain, defend, or retaliate. Disloyalty will no longer shock you into paralysis. You will learn to view both not as personal tragedies, but as raw data. You will acquire the unfair advantage of absolute indifference, the quiet capacity to strip an offender of their power, without ever raising your voice or altering your trajectory. Let us look clearly at what happens when disrespect occurs in the second half of life. By 35, you have built things: a career, a family, a business, a reputation. Your time is no longer an infinite resource. It is a dwindling reserve. When a business partner bypasses you, when a spouse breaches trust, or when a subordinate ignores your directive, your primitive brain perceives a threat to your territory. The crowd reacts immediately. They send the angry text at 11 p.m. They schedule the tense meeting to clear the air. They vent to friends, replaying the sequence of events over whiskey or late-night ruminations. Recognize what this is: an emotional leak. You are spending metabolic energy, focus, and sleep on an entity you do not govern. You are letting someone else dictate the temperature of your internal citadel. Stoicism approaches this with cold arithmetic. Epictetus taught that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things. Disrespect is an external event. It carries zero mass. It possesses no inherent power to harm your mind, your skills, or your bank account until you assign it meaning. Consider the reality. The person who disrespected you did so out of their own internal disorder. Disloyalty is never a reflection of your value. It is a declaration of their weakness. It reveals their limits, their short-term thinking, and their lack of self-command. Why would you adjust your mental state to align with someone else's weakness? When disrespected, your immediate physiological response is adrenaline. Do not trust your mind in this state. Implement the 24-hour buffer. You do not reply. You do not address the subtle insult. You do not confront the boundary breach immediately. You lock the gate. You write down the facts, and only the facts, on paper. Fact: Person A made an untrue claim in the meeting. Emotion to be discarded: Person A embarrassed me and targeted my authority. You isolate the event from the narrative. Until 24 hours have elapsed, your public posture remains completely unchanged. Cold, unbothered, operational. Law 1. To react to disrespect immediately is to acknowledge that the offender holds territory inside your head. Consider David, 44 years old, senior operations director at a middle-market logistics firm. David brought a junior colleague, Marcus, up through the ranks over 5 years. He shared his network, taught him the operational quirks of the industry, and shielded him during corporate restructuring. At 44, David discovered that Marcus had been quietly meeting with the executive board for 3 months, pitching a restructuring plan that rendered David's role redundant while positioning Marcus as the successor. The disloyalty was complete. David felt the visceral sting, betrayal by an apprentice he mentored. The average man goes to war. He accuses the junior colleague of treason, appeals to executive morals, and creates a public spectacle. In doing so, he looks unstable to executive leadership. He burns his own energy while the betrayer plays the victim. David took the Stoic route. He recognized the dichotomy of control. What was outside David's control? Marcus's ambition and lack of ethics. The board's appetite for cost-cutting. The past 3 months of secret meetings. What was inside David's control? His own professional leverage. The execution of his daily output. His next strategic career move. David did not confront Marcus. He did not alter his tone in morning stand-ups. He offered no passive-aggressive remarks. He treated Marcus with precise, clinical professionalism. Behind the scenes, in absolute silence. David audited his actual value to the firm. He spent 2 hours every night organizing his proprietary processes, reaching out to competitors, and documenting his client retention metrics. He treated the betrayal not as a knife in his back, but as a clear signal that the terrain had changed. 4 months later, when the board presented the restructuring plan to David, he did not plead. He accepted their decision calmly, handed over the baseline documentation, and walked into a competitor's office the following Monday with a 20% raise and 3 major accounts in tow. Within 6 months, Marcus's operational shortcuts caught up with him. The division faltered under his lack of deep knowledge. David did not watch or celebrate. He was busy building his new department. When disloyalty strikes your circle, draw a line down a piece of paper. On the left side, list everything about the situation you cannot alter with direct, physical action right now. Other people's opinions, past actions, lies spoken about you. On the right side, list actions you can execute today in complete isolation, tightening your security, updating your estate plan, documenting facts, improving your physical conditioning, adjusting your capital allocation. Burn the left side, execute the right side. Law 2. Never waste an ounce of force. Attempting to repaint a house that is already on fire. Move your belongings out instead. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius opened his journal and wrote a specific instruction to himself. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish good from evil. This was not pessimism. It was tactical preparation, what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. The reason disrespect cuts men and women over 35 so deeply is that they still harbor a hidden, childish expectation. They expect the world to play fair. They believe that years of service, fidelity, or kindness earn an immunity ticket against human depravity. It does not. Human nature has been stable for 5,000 years. People are driven by fear, short-term incentive, insecurity, and envy. When someone betrays you, they are simply acting out their nature, expecting a self-interested person to act with nobility is like expecting a scorpion not to sting. The error is not in the scorpion's nature. It is in your expectation. When you practice mental preparation, disrespect loses its power to startle you. You do not get angry when it rains. You simply reach for an umbrella. When an associate proves disloyal, you do not collapse in shock. You observe that the blueprint has proven accurate. Picture your life as an inner citadel. Inside the walls are your principles, your work, your family safety, and your peace of mind. Outside the walls are 8 billion human beings, all acting according to their own internal storms. Disrespect is a stone thrown from outside the walls. It strikes the outer stone. It bounces off. It makes a dull thud. The stone cannot breach the wall. The only way that stone hurts you is if you open the heavy iron gate, run outside, pick up the stone, and smash yourself in the forehead with it. That is what you do every time you replay an insult in your mind. You are opening the gate, bringing the trash inside, and placing it on your dining table. Before you open your phone, before you read email, before you step into the arena of your day, take 90 seconds. Identify the 2 most volatile or unpredictable individuals you will interact with today. Mentally rehearse them lying, undermining you, or acting selfishly. Visualize your response. 0 physical reaction. Neutral eye contact, a short sentence acknowledging the input, and an immediate return to your operational priorities. When it happens, your brain registers it not as a crisis, but as a repeated simulation. Law 3. Disappointment is the tax you pay for replacing reality with your preferences. Pay less tax. How do you handle the disloyal person once the mask has fallen? The crowd believes in confrontation. They believe in having it out. They want closure. The Stoic knows that closure is a myth created by people who seek emotional drama. You do not need the offender to acknowledge their mistake. You do not need them to apologize. Their character is their punishment. They have to live with the person who committed the act. You do not. The most powerful weapon against disrespect is absolute, cold disengagement. Not passive aggression. Not silent treatment designed to manipulate them into caring. Pure disengagement. You downgrade their security clearance in your life immediately and permanently. Consider Ellen, 51. She co-owned an architecture firm with her brother. Over 3 years. Her brother systematically diverted high-margin clients to a side venture he set up independently, using firm resources while Ellen carried the core operational load. When Ellen discovered the paper trail, the emotional temptation was massive. Family dinners ruined. Decades of shared history weaponized. Screaming matches in the boardroom. Instead, Ellen executed a strategic disengagement. First, information blackout. She stopped sharing prospective leads or internal strategy with him instantly. Second, neutral posture. She spoke to him in the office only regarding legally binding operational necessities. Her voice dropped half an octave. No anger. No sarcasm. Pure business tone. Third, legal separation. She retained legal counsel silently, structured a clear buy-sell valuation based on historic earnings, and presented him with 2 options. Buy her out at fair market value or face an immediate judicial dissolution of the partnership. Her brother attempted to drag her into emotional arguments. How can you do this to family? You're destroying our parents' legacy. Ellen answered every emotional appeal with the same cold boundary. We are speaking only about the valuation agreement. Your attorney can contact mine. She did not yield. She did not explain. She did not validate his attempts to shift the narrative. By refusing to feed the emotional fire, Ellen forced the transaction into the cold light of reality. She recovered her capital, separated her professional life, and preserved her sanity. When disengaged from a disloyal actor, leave them zero surface to grip. Do not explain your feelings. Do not detail why you are stepping back. Do not offer warnings or second chances. If forced to interact, use neutral, monosyllabic clarity. If they ask, "Is something wrong?" your answer is not a speech. Your answer is, "Nothing at all. My focus is entirely on my current objectives." You become smooth glass. They cannot climb you, they cannot drag you down, and they cannot extract an emotional reaction to fuel their own narrative. Law 4. Silence is the ultimate weapon of sovereignty. Explanations are concessions you grant to people who have already forfeited the right to hear you. You are no longer 25. You do not have time to waste on emotional salvage operations for broken people. If someone has shown you who they are through disrespect or disloyalty, accept the gift of that clarity. Do not ask why they did it. Do not attempt to fix them. Do not spend your nights rehearsing arguments you will never hold. You have work to do. You have a body to train, a mind to harden, assets to protect, and a legacy to build. Today, take the disloyal person and move them outside your citadel. Do it without malice. Do it without fanfare. Do it with the quiet finality of a stone dropping into a deep well. Remove their access to your time. Remove their access to your thoughts. Remove their access to your presence. Do not discuss this shift with anyone. Do not post subtle warnings on social media. Do not complain to mutual acquaintances. Walk back to your forge. Pick up your tools. Return to your work. The crowd talks. The disciplined build.